Taeyong hints at jealous friend in Paris interview. Is he talking about Jungkook? Not everyone claps when you rise. The quote that cracked the surface of BTS's tightly held brotherhood. IT was supposed to be a celebration, an elegant Parisian affair marking Kim Taeyong's return to the global spotlight. The Celine event, the exclusive photo shoots, the fashion world wrapped around his fingertips. But somewhere between the flashing lights and silk runways, one quiet interview sent shockwaves through the fandom, because in a candid sit-down with a French fashion outlet, Taeyong, cool, composed, yet visibly reflective, dropped a sentence that instantly set off alarms across the BTS world. You learn that not everyone claps when you rise. Sometimes, it's the people closest to you who struggle the most with your growth. The interviewer moved on. But ARMY didn't. They froze, they analyzed, they asked the one question they couldn't stop asking. Was he talking about Jungkook? The timing is impossible to ignore. Just days earlier, Jungkook's emotional live stream, where he spoke through tears about feeling left out and how even family can forget you, had left fans shattered. His cryptic post followed. You don't always notice when you're being replaced. Sometimes they smile while they do it. Now Taeyong, seated in a tailored Celine suit under golden Paris lights, seemed to be responding, not directly, but enough to make fans pause. You learn a lot when you succeed, he continued in the interview. The world claps. But the silence from the people you thought would, that stays with you. The words weren't just poignant, they felt personal, and fans were quick to piece together the pattern. Two boys, once inseparable, now seemingly exchanging heartbreak through interviews and live streams instead of eye contact. Instead of phone calls, what happened between them? Was it Paris? Was it fame? Or was it the unspoken truth that when one shines a little too brightly, the other can feel left in the dark? Because let's not forget, Jungkook and Taeyong were more than just bandmates. They were mirrors. Two stars forged in the same fire, balancing each other with laughter, chaos, and moments so tender they didn't need to be explained. But now, one is on the cover of fashion magazines, and the other is wiping tears on a live stream. And both seem to be talking about the same wound, just from opposite sides. Not everyone claps when you rise, the fandom erupted. Was this Taeyong's way of confronting the whispers? The silent resentment. Was he calling out Jungkook, subtly accusing him of not supporting his solo ascent? Or was this just the painful truth of any deep friendship under pressure, where love and envy can coexist in uncomfortable silence? Twitter, TikTok, and Weverse lit up with theories. This sounds like a direct reply to JK's post. Are we watching Taekook fall apart in real time? Is this why Jungkook cried? He saw this coming. V is hurt too. They both feel abandoned. No one's clapping. They're both bleeding. Some fans defended Taeyong, saying his words were broader, about the fashion world, about industry competitiveness. But others weren't so sure. The pause he took after that sentence, the slight tightness in his jaw, the way he stared into the distance as he said, "The silence stays with you." It felt like he wasn't talking about rivals. He was talking about someone he trusted. And who fits that description more than Jungkook? Let's rewind. Taeyong and Jungkook, Taekook, shared years of moments that weren't staged, weren't PR. They were real. Jungkook holding Taeyong's hand during anxiety attacks. Taeyong covering for Jungkook's voice when he choked up during encores. The Tokyo trip. The matching bracelets. The tattoos. The unspoken loyalty. But now, Jungkook's social media has gone dark. Taeyong posts flawless photos with industry insiders, and the words between them, if we can still call them words, are coming through headlines and heartbreak. Maybe they never fought. Maybe no one said the wrong thing. Maybe, worse than all of that, they stopped saying anything at all. One fan wrote. The worst kind of breakup is the silent kind. The one where you realize you're grieving someone who's still alive, still breathing, just no longer choosing you. And maybe that's what we're watching now, not a feud, not a scandal, but a quiet fracture between two souls who grew up together and maybe, painfully, began growing apart. Taeyong is rising, and with it comes distance. New people, new worlds. Paris is proof of that. Jungkook, left in the shadows, is grieving not the fame, but the friend. And Taeyong, his quote cuts both ways, because if not everyone claps when you rise, then maybe deep down, he feels abandoned too. Maybe the silence from Jungkook hurts him just as much. Maybe both of them are hurting, and the only way they know how to speak anymore is through cryptic messages and interviews that leave the world guessing. So now, fans are holding their breath. Will Jungkook respond? Will Taehyung clarify? Will the silence continue until there's nothing left to salvage? Or will one of them finally say, "This is hurting me too. Let's talk. Let's not lose each other." Until then, we're left with fragments to quote in Paris, a tear in a live stream, and the echo of something once beautiful, now unraveling, word by word. And perhaps the most devastating part of all, they still call each other family. But it doesn't feel like family anymore. Not when one is flying through Paris skies in private jets and whispering cryptic truths to foreign fashion magazines, and the other is crying into the dark of his bedroom, whispering just as softly to a camera lens he hopes someone is watching. Because this isn't about fashion. This isn't about interviews. This is about the unraveling of trust between two people who once promised they'd never drift, who used to show up for each other, even when no one else did. And now, they both feel unseen, fans. See it too. The matching outfits that stopped happening, the absence of birthday posts, the lack of eye contact at public events before enlistment, the shift from playful chaos to awkward silence. And now, 2 sentences, one from each of them, have become the center of a storm. Even family can forget you sometimes. Not everyone claps when you rise. 2 sides of the same ache point, 2 hearts quietly accusing, quietly grieving. And what makes this fracture even harder to watch is the history that came before it. Years of holding each other up, of dancing side by side, of calling one another soulmates without ever needing the word. Jungkook once said in a behind-the-scenes clip, "Taehyung is different. When I'm with him, I feel like I'm home." But maybe home changed. Maybe Taehyung found a new comfort in places Jungkook didn't follow, among artists, designers, champagne flutes, and chandeliers. And maybe Jungkook stayed in the past too long, hoping the version of Taehyung he loved would come back through the door. But he didn't. And now they're both looking at each other across a canyon of silence, neither willing to build the bridge. Some fans believe it's just a phase. That brothers fight. That distance doesn't mean destruction. That eventually, the music will bring them back. But others aren't so sure anymore, because this doesn't feel like a fight. This feels like a choice. Taehyung's choice to ascend without waiting, Jungkook's choice to bleed publicly rather than explode privately, and the fandom's collective heartbreak is louder than ever. You learn that not everyone claps when you rise. What if Taehyung wasn't just accusing Jungkook of jealousy? What if he was pleading? Pleading for understanding, pleading for support, because sometimes rising feels lonely too. What if both of them are hurting because both of them feel abandoned? Jungkook, waiting for someone to hold space for his quiet loyalty. Taehyung, waiting for someone to celebrate his new light, even if it means losing the old shadows. And instead of turning toward each other, they turned away. And fans were left to witness the wreckage. One fan posted a collage of their most iconic moments with a caption. They didn't even say goodbye. They just stopped reaching for each other. And that's what stings most, that the hands once so familiar with clasping have now forgotten the way. The eyes that once searched for each other across crowded stages now glaze over. The voices that once harmonized now speak in riddles, online, apart, and hurting. And we, the audience who believed in their story, are left staring at 2 broken mirrors, each reflecting the other's pain, each refusing to speak the truth out loud. And until one of them does, until one of them breaks the pattern, puts ego aside, and says, "I miss you," this is the version of Taehyung we'll be left with. Not the playful chaos, not the soul-deep bond, but the silence, the wounds behind the fame, the quotes etched like battle scars across magazine pages and Weverse feeds. Even family forgets you sometimes. Not everyone claps when you rise. 2 cries in the dark, still unanswered, still echoing, and it's in that echo, sharp, endless, gutting, that the truth starts to settle in. They are no longer moving in sync. Once upon a time, Taehyung and Jungkook could finish each other's sentences. Their friendship was effortless, messy in the best way, spontaneous karaoke sessions, chaotic hotel room lives, late-night foot races in hallways, secret glances during concerts that said more than any lyric ever could. They didn't need permission to be close. They just were. But now, everything feels curated. Taehyung's words in Paris are crisp, composed, carefully placed like his Celine outfits. He talks about art, ascension, evolution. He talks about the loneliness of success, as if he's already made peace with it. And Jungkook, raw, trembling, unfiltered, doesn't seem to have found that peace. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Because his live stream didn't sound like a goodbye he was ready for, it sounded like one that was forced upon him. And as the fandom sits in this uncomfortable in-between, wondering if the cracks are permanent, more patterns emerge. Like how Jungkook's recent songs, especially his unreleased snippets, have taken a darker turn. Lyrics about being left behind, about watching from the sidelines, about trying to be enough but never quite fitting in anymore. Fans once thought those were about fame or the pressures of idol life. Now, many believe they're about him, about Taehyung.1 unreleased demo line, now resurfacing with chilling clarity. You didn't leave me. You just stopped looking. And as always, Taehyung's response is wrapped in enigma. No direct rebuttal. No name dropped. Just that one line in Paris that won't stop replaying in the minds of armies. The silence from the people you thought would clap stays with you. Could that be about Jungkook not celebrating his Paris glow-up? Could it be about feeling unsupported by the one person he once considered his biggest cheerleader? Or worse, could it be revenge cloaked in style? A way to finally say, "You hurt me first. And now I'm shining without you." But the hurt doesn't cancel itself out. It doesn't make anyone right. It just proves how deep the wound really runs. Two people who never needed to say much to understand each other, now speaking through coded sorrow in different time zones, different languages, different lives. And the fans? They're left decoding silence, refreshing Webers, zooming in on photos, counting the seconds between heartbeats and heartbreak. Because what if we're watching the end of something historic? What if this isn't a fight, or a phase, or a misunderstanding? What if Taehyung and Jungkook have simply outgrown each other? The idea is unthinkable. But so was Jungkook crying alone on camera. So was Taehyung posting cryptic jabs from Paris like the world wouldn't notice. So was the silence that's followed since one fan wrote on X. I think they still love each other. I just think they don't know how to say it anymore. And maybe that's the tragedy of it all, that even love, if left unspoken for too long, begins to sound like resentment, that even brothers can become strangers, that even promises whispered in youth can dissolve under the weight of fame, expectation, and time. And so the story continues, not as a fairy tale, but as a slow unraveling. A soft devastation, not with a bang, but with the quiet death of what once felt eternal. No official announcement. No confrontación. No closure, just Jungkook, alone in the dark, posting truths in black and white, and Taehyung, alone in the light, cloaking his hurt in couture and carefully worded quotes. Two hearts, still beating, but no longer in rhythm. And maybe that's the saddest part of all, not that they drifted, but that they did so while the whole world was watching, and neither of them turned back.